Alright, so these spoilers are absolutely insane. We have Sarada finally awakening the Mangekyo Sharingan, and it looks really good, despite the horrible situation of course. But we also have Sasuke taking the side of Boruto even though he is confirmed to be affected, and we also have Boruto and Sasuke versus Eida and Damon. Like, this chapter is gonna be one for the ages. Alright, before we get into the actual chapter spoilers, there is some big news that we need to address. So the Boruto manga will be on break until August of 2023. So basically a 3-month long break, so we'll have to wait on the manga to come back in addition to the anime. And I do believe that this is because of the recently announced Minato manga that won the Naruto poll, and Kishimoto is just making time to work on that one shot because apparently he is the one also writing Boruto, so this is also a confirmation on that. I don't know how to feel about it because I would have rathered more Boruto content to be honest, but maybe Minato's manga will be good, so we'll see. Now the cover page for this chapter features Sarada, and the title says, "If it's my dad or dad would." So either one of these translations based on what Viz decides to do. It also says the subtitle, "With one's own will and eyes." And again, this seems to be implying that something will happen to Sarada and her eyes. You know, wink wink, Mangekyo Sharingan. And it basically says here that the chapter picks up with Boruto still on the run. Shikamaru asks Eida if she's sure that Boruto was the one who killed Naruto. Kawaki grabs Eida by the collar and she says yes. Shikamaru makes a public announcement saying that Boruto has killed Naruto. And this part is actually pretty sad because you can see the expression on Shikamaru's face because he can't believe that this happened. Especially Kawaki killing Naruto, because you have to remember that Boruto is now Kawaki and all that jazz. So it's pretty hard for Shikamaru to believe that something like this happened, you know, it would be for anyone. And we also see that Sarada is also completely shocked by this information. Then it says here that Sarada breaks down after hearing that Boruto has killed Naruto. Mitsuki, or Mitsuki, goes after Boruto. Eida then asks Kawaki that does he have to go this far. Kawaki reiterates that he can keep Naruto sealed until he kills Boruto. Damon then makes his entrance, and we see Damon hopping on top of Kawaki. Now this part was actually pretty sad, and I thought she was going to awaken the Mangekyo Sharingan here because she's also crying. Now it could be that she's crying because Naruto is gone, because you have to remember that she has this relationship with Naruto that Boruto has with Sasuke, or she looks up to Naruto in a similar way, and she's also affectionate with Naruto, so you'd expect this reaction from her learning of Naruto's death. Although it could also be because she can't believe that Boruto would do something like this, because you have to remember that she still knows that Boruto is Boruto, so it could be both or it could be one. Either way, she's upset. And then we also got further confirmation that Naruto and Hinata are submerged in the Daikokuten dimension. So they aren't able to move. Naruto isn't training for Sage Mode, he isn't absorbing chakra, he's actually frozen in time. So this is shown on the panel itself. So all those theories about Naruto training to get powerful, not gonna happen, apparently. Then it switches over to something that I found very interesting. So it says that Sasuke finds Sarada. Sarada tells Sasuke that Mitsuki wants to kill Boruto. It seems like Sasuke was also affected by Eida's ability, as he considers Mitsuki's reaction to be natural. Sumire then contacts Sarada, both of whom haven't been affected. So this confirms that Sasuke is somewhat affected, because based on his reaction to Mitsuki going after Boruto saying that it's natural, it could imply that he also understands why Mitsuki would attack Boruto. Now again, I would point out that this doesn't confirm that Sasuke is affected, because one, he could be saying that this is natural because Mitsuki is under the impression that Boruto is Kawaki and all that jazz. So it could be playing into the fact that he's not affected, but he still understands why Mitsuki would attack him since Mitsuki is affected. So this really doesn't confirm that Sasuke is affected in the slightest, but it could be. You know, we'll just have to wait and see. But Sumire isn't, so I guess that's good. And this kinda like throws a wrench into the theories about it being because of the Uchiha blood and all that jazz, because if Sasuke is affected, then that can't be the case. So we'll see what's the actual reason for Sumire and Sarada. Then we skip to Boruto versus Team 10, and we see that Boruto is running through the forest, and we see Chocho's enlarged hand going after Boruto. Boruto jumps back to dodge, braces for impact, and then we have Inojin dropping in from the sky with his bird, and then we have the entrance of Shikadai with his shadow paralysis jutsu, and he's holding down Boruto. Now this part is where I find it very weird, because it says that Sumire informs Sarada that this is all Eida's doing. Everyone is under her her spell, but it hasn't affected her or Sarada. Sarada begins to cry. Sumire adds that us two are the only ones who can help Boruto. Now, how Sumire knows this is kinda weird. Now, you could say that she just made the logical deduction, because if Sarada isn't affected and she isn't affected, then it's likely the case that this is Eida's doing, because we have to remember that prior to Eida using Omnipotence to invoke Kawaki's will, she also used Omnipotence to invoke her desire for everyone to love her, which is why she had the charm ability to begin with. And because they weren't affected by the charm ability, if they aren't affected by this as well, the logical deduction is that this has something to do with Eida. Or it could be that she has learned something from a model. Maybe, but we'll see. And then it goes to Sarada and Sasuke. So it says here that Sarada desperately tries to convince Sasuke that Boruto isn't the bad guy and that he wasn't the one who killed Lord 7th. Sasuke is still trapped in Eida's spell and tells Sarada to go home. Sarada says, "Listen, Dad, my first and last act of selfishness." And then the next panel shows Sarada unlocks her Mangekyo Sharingan and says, "Papa, please help Boruto." Now, this is absolutely insane. The design itself for Sarada's Mangekyo Sharingan is one of Kishimoto's original designs, but is slightly different. So as you can see here, initially the spokes or triangles had like a space in between them, as seen in the art itself, but now they seem to be conjoined. Now it could be different because she's just activating the dojutsu, and maybe that's why it looks different, so we'll see how that plays out later on. But the eye itself is absolutely dope, and this brings into question whether Kishimoto will also give Boruto a chakra cloak, because you see that Sarada has her Sharingan from the original art, and we also see that Mitsuki has his Sage mode. So the only person who doesn't have something from this original art is Boruto and his chakra mode. So I'm not saying that it will happen, but it likely will since everything else is playing out. We don't know how though. It could be because of a Jogan, which I predicted in a video a few months ago, or it could be that Kishimoto just decided not to go with the cloak for Boruto later on in the process. So we'll see how that plays out. Now, one more thing I want to mention based on this panel here, I'm not sure what Sarada is doing with the Mangekyo Sharingan. It seems like she's putting Sasuke under Genjutsu, because she says that this is her last act of selfishness. I have no idea what that means, but of course we're gonna get more information later on. Now it then switches to Sasuke swooping in to save Boruto, and he takes him away. And it then says that he tells Boruto about the time he first met him, and how he became his apprentice and how they defeated Momoshiki. Eida sees all of this and decides to go after Sasuke and Boruto. Now I don't know what happened between Sasuke and Sarada, but apparently she did do something with her Sharingan, because Sasuke is now helping Boruto. Now it doesn't seem like Sasuke is fully aware of what Eida did or how she did it, but it seems like he does know that something happened and he needs to protect Boruto. I think it's likely that Sarada did some Genjutsu Mojo Jojo with her new Mangekyo Sharingan, and that's why this is happening, but we await confirmation. Now I'm not sure if Eida said something to Kawaki that she's going to go after Boruto and Sasuke, because it doesn't seem like she did, because if she did, I believe that Kawaki would go with her, right? So it's kind of weird. Now it then switches to Sasuke telling Boruto that he doesn't trust his own memories because Boruto is holding his headband, and of course this is in reference to Boruto and the Momoshiki incident. And it then says that Sasuke tells Boruto that he trusts his daughter and he would risk his life to help Boruto if that's what she wants. It then switches to Momoshiki being completely pissed at Boruto, and he says that what has happened cannot be overturned. He demands that Boruto give him his body and stay shut in forever. You have to remember that this was Momoshiki's plan from earlier on, that Boruto will hide in a corner of his psyche and allow Momoshiki to take control of his body. Now this apparently isn't going to be the case, because Boruto doesn't break and Momoshiki in a way applauds his mentality. Eida then comes in to apologize. Now in regards to the prophecy itself, I find this comically bad. It's so bad, bro. Like Momoshiki really thought, like he didn't have any concrete proof, he just thought that this happening would result in Boruto losing everything and giving him his body. Like he really thought that was gonna happen. He didn't think that maybe Boruto will try to resolve the matter first. He just thought that, oh well, this happened, okay cool, you know, my father apparently sealed away, you know, they're blaming me and saying yada yada, and I'm just gonna give you my body, you know, that's gonna resolve everything, you know, that's gonna save my dad, you know, that's gonna save my sister, that's gonna save everyone, I'm just gonna give you my body, Momoshiki. Like I'm like, bro, ain't no way Momoshiki thought that's what was gonna happen. It's so weird. I don't know, but maybe something else happens later on that justifies his concrete belief that that's what was gonna happen, because I don't see it happening, but maybe it does. But of course, you know, we wait couldn't see. It then says that Boruto smiles even in the face of despair and says that he has the blood of his father, mother, and his grandfather running through his veins. A shinobi who has inherited the will of fire. So again, Momoshiki is cooked. Boruto isn't gonna give him his body, which we knew from the start since this is Boruto's story, of course. So again, Momoshiki played the wrong hand, bro. It's sad, but it is what it is. Now this part is very weird because it says final pages, Boruto prepares for training to become stronger to face Kawaki. Code plans revenge and Kawaki still wants to kill Boruto. Side text, I want to put an end to this brother fight. As a shinobi that inherited the will of fire. Then it says the story enters a new chapter, which I think is time skip. Now you guys might be wondering what the hell happened with Eida and Damon, which is what everyone is thinking as well. So obviously Abdul didn't post everything, which leads me to believe that something very interesting happened with Eida and Damon that they don't want to release into the spoilers. So even though you guys have been spoiled by a lot of things that happened in the chapter, rest assured that you need to look forward to the chapter itself because apparently something big is missing here. So that's also exciting to me as well. But again, like this chapter was pretty wild, you know, Sarada, Mangekyo Sharingan, Sasuke helping Boruto. We don't know what happened with Eida and Damon, which is very interesting, and Code is also planning on attacking the village. Now this is kind of weird because it seems like this is moving into the time skip era because it says the start of a new story, or the story enters a new chapter per se. So it could be that we move into the time skip and they aren't aged up, but it is the time skip era, you know, like maybe a year passed or whatever, but they'll have to explain why Code didn't attack. But I think what they'll probably do is that Code will attack the village, but we'll only learn what happened later on in the time skip. So they'll do it in flashbacks to see what happened and how this happened. Maybe someone died and then they show it later on. So I think that might be pretty good because I think it's possible. So we'll see how it plays out, but all in all I think the chapter is great. Of course I'm going to save my entire thoughts after analyzing the actual chapter when it comes out based on the dialogue. So look forward to the chapter view itself and also the countless theories that will spawn from this chapter itself. So again, this chapter was pretty good. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section, drop a like if you like the video, and subscribe to the channel if you're new. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out.